This past week began with news of mail bombs and ended with a gunman going into the Tree of Life synagogue in Pittsburgh, and as of this morning, killing 11 people. The Episcopal Bishop of Pittsburgh wrote some words that I cannot improve on, and I thought I would share with you this morning. Dear friends in Christ, a short time ago, a gunman entered the Tree of Life synagogue in Squirrel Hill, apparently shouting anti-Jewish slogans and shooting into the crowd of worshipers gathered for the Sabbath. The newscasts, sickeningly, are referring again and again to this horror as a tragedy. It is no such thing. A tragedy is inevitable. This was not. It was murder. Murder of a particularly vile and poisonous kind. Human beings have moral agency. Someone chose to hate and chose to kill. And now we are faced with a choice as well. To do nothing, or to reject this hatred in the strongest possible words and actions, and to refute it in every way, in every forum, the philosophical foundations of anti-Semitism wherever they have gained a foothold in our churches and our society. We are waiting upon the leadership of the Jewish community of Pittsburgh as they consider an appropriate common response in which we may also join to express our grief and support. In the meantime, I ask all the congregations to keep the people of Tree of Life and their leadership in our prayers, mentioning them particularly during the prayers of the people in tomorrow's liturgies, under the biddings for the departed. This terror is added to the great heap of such crimes we have witnessed in the past. Yet our hope is not dimmed and our obligation is clear. For as God says in the prophets, "Behold, I set before you this day life and death, blessing and curse. Therefore choose life, that you and your descendants may live." May we, especially who bear the name of Christ, be fierce in our love and unwavering in our courage as we mourn with those who mourn and work with others to lay the foundations for blessing, life, and peace among all people. One of the wonderful ironies of our lectionary, the assigned readings for each Sunday, is that the gospel today is a gospel about choice. When we hear the cries of Bartimaeus, and we're told in the Gospel of Mark that he's blind, in the 21st century we just take that as a physiological fact. But in the culture of Bartimaeus' day, it was far more than blindness. His blindness, the culture believed, was a sign of God's curse upon him for something that he did wrong. He had sinned. He had offended God. And therefore, he had a punishment deserving of whatever it was that he had done to God. So ignore him. Leave him on the side of the road begging with a cloak around him. He doesn't deserve God's love. He doesn't deserve God's mercy, for he has offended God and is living out the punishment for his actions. So as Jesus and his disciples are leaving Jericho, he's crying out, "Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me." Most of the crowd is saying, "Shut up. Shut up. You're not worthy of God's love. Shut up. You're not worthy of the attention of Jesus. Shut up. Lie in the dust in your own misery for whatever it is that you cause God to bring this upon you. Next week, on the Feast of All Saints, we will reaffirm our baptismal vows. And in those baptismal vows, we renounce the sinful desires that draw us from the love of God. We renounce the evil powers of this world which corrupt and destroy the creatures of God. We renounce Satan and all the spiritual forces of wickedness that rebel against God. And we promise to seek and serve Christ and all people, loving our neighbor as ourselves, and to strive for justice and peace among all people, and respect the dignity of every human being. The question before us is, will we do that? For we live in a culture and a day which is charged with all sorts of disparaging language, from our political leaders to personal citizens. We hear that certain people are not worthy, while others are. 20 years ago, a young man in Wyoming was strapped to a fence and beaten to death simply because he was gay. He was deemed not worthy to live for who he said he was. Our church has many faults, but I was never so proud of being an Episcopalian as I was on Friday, as I watched lovingly and carefully and generously our church place the remains of Matthew Shepard in the walls of the National Cathedral. You see, we have a choice for all those whom our culture says is not worthy. Are we to be like the crowds that say, "Go away, get lost, shut up, you aren't worthy"? Or will we be people who live the vision of God and say, "Come here, you are beloved. Come here, you are accepted. Come here, child of God. This is your home. Come share in the inheritance of the saints." God says to us, "I place before you life and death. Choose life."